Durag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Date Y2K 18.02.23. 256 days until the midterm elections. What does carnage really mean when you use the technique of doublethink? Remember that speech the Trump-Putin creep made at his inauguration, at that outrage against my human dignity? And he started talking about carnage. What does that really mean? Our country, and the world for that matter, suffers from carnage. We've been suffering from carnage for as long as I can freaking remember, which is forever. And I believe that the carnage will continue as long as we continue ourselves to embrace the idea of being naked thug apes. Naked apes, instead of refining ourselves even further. Yes, we had carnage. But how much carnage do we want? Do we want less or more? And with this creep, this traitorous, dangerous creep, this outrageous mug, just thinking about him makes me want to vomit every time I think about him. He had like some kind of news conference. I shut it off. I didn't want to see it. I don't want to watch that creep live. He absolutely makes my gorge rise till I want to vomit. So what I depend on, of course, is the news to filter, protect me from his Medusa hideous face. So we've always had carnage, and we don't want more. And with the introduction of this traitor president into our lives that accepts the notion of no gun regulations and the teachers should be armed, we must get rid of this pernicious Trump birther creep before he gives the remnants of our destroyed country to Putin. Trump-Putin's inauguration theme was American Carnage, a speech that was co-written by the Nazi scum duo, Bannon and Miller. They are all of them adept at the Orwellian notion of doublethink. That is, holding contradictory beliefs and accepting one or the other of those beliefs when it is convenient to keep whatever dictator you support in power. Of course, they also use the Orwellian notion of the revision of history, which works in concert with doublethink to help you to forget the revisions that you made. When the birther traitor Trump claims that he has been the toughest, can you believe this? This creep claimed that he has been the toughest on the Russians, right? And this is an example of him using doublethink and the revision of history, because he hopes that all of us are doing the same thing, agreeing with him and accepting the revision. When Trump was talking about carnage, he was really talking about something else. When you know your enemy, like I do, is using doublethink, you can understand what they really mean when they use words like that, like carnage, in political speeches. But here's what he really meant. Remember, doublethink, carnage. Carnage is a social safety net of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, welfare, and food stamps. Carnage are the environmental protections that keep greedy chemical, oil, and energy companies from poisoning us, and more importantly, poisoning our children. And carnage are regulations that protect our holy, pristine public lands from people like Stinky, Cursed, Zinke, the Interior Secretary, and Pruitt Seward, who wants to poison us. Carnage are regulations that protect our right to vote. Carnage are regulations that make it easier to vote. Carnage is our right that nothing our government does should be privatized, including our schools and our prisons. Carnage are regulations that make the rich pay their fair share of taxes. Carnage are regulations that protect animals and other helpless beings that roam this earth alongside of us. And carnage is any law that protects us from racism, misogynism, xenophobia, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and religious extremism. Carnage are regulations that make sure that certain sick people do not get guns to use so they can shoot up schools, movie theaters, nightclubs, sporting and concert events. As you can see, since 50% of us chose not to vote, and the Democrats and the Russians were determined to see that Trump should win, we now understand what carnage means for all of us now. The real word. See what he's been doing. See all the creepy, crappy, outrageous, cursed crap he's been doing to all these regulations. Let's get rid of all the Obama mandates. Every time he opens his mouth, I hope he has a stroke. His entire Republican cabinet and vice president and most of the Republican Party with him. With this creep in power now, we have real carnage and more to come. Will your loved ones be next? This is what carnage looks like when you use Doublethink. 256 days are left until the midterm elections to begin getting rid of this creep, unless somehow, some way he gets arrested, impeached, tried, and then put before a firing squad. I am voting against the traitor Trump, no matter who or what the Democrats decide to run, with the hope that there are progressive young people out there, like this person, Mr. Hogg, who will soon take over that party and use words and deeds the way an honest, ethical person would.